Welcome back. All right, so this was the only game on tonight. Obviously, I already recapped everything else that took place. And I have to say, multiple games worth of material is in this one, so I thank this game for being very interesting. Now, here's where things get interesting for me. Before I had a channel, I probably still would have watched this game, but I would have watched like halfway through the first, and I would have said, well, Blues didn't show up, so I'm done. The Kings win, done, finished. And in the end, you do get a victory for the Kings. But how we get there is one of the most meandering games. And I don't think either defense core has a lot to be happy about tonight. I think both coaches are going to look at their penalty kill with some derision. And so, yeah, this ends up being maybe the sloppiest game I've watched this year. Maybe it's up there. It's definitely one of the top, I'd say top five, top six. But at any rate, we had Hofer versus Copley in this one. One of them would finish the game, one wouldn't finish the first period. Arvidsson scores 27 seconds in from Fiala and Danault. That's their first shot, basically. And I say basically because they're going to get a bunch of shots in this first period. Kings look for another. It looked like a no mercy game right away, and I put no mercy early. Like this just looks like it's going to be all Kings. Delay game call, that gives the Kings a power play. So you pin down St. Louis, you make them take that delay game call. Kempe fires one high, they cycle, it's cleared out, and then as soon as it comes back in at 2:48, a great pass, Iafallo buries it. Arvidsson and Deno with the assists. So at 2:48, it's 2-0. The Blues, one shot at that point. LA had 5. So Hofer is just under siege in this one. Hofer came into this one with a good record, good numbers. Tonight's gonna hurt those numbers overall. Krug then has a point shot that's held. The Kings press 5 minutes in. The Blues press and draw power play. That leads to a shorthanded goal. It's Kempe from Moore at 7:34. So yeah, not a fantastic start to the game. It's now 3-0, but they're still on the power play. So that one's wired on a rush. That's the 9th shot on net for LA. Saad scores. A ref said crossbar, but the ref is wrong. Immediately the horn goes, and Saad is given that goal. Now, according to the app says that the St. Louis Blues are 2 for 2 on the power play. This was right as the power play ended, so they must have adjusted the time. My time was 8:04, right as the power play came to an end. It's counting as a power play goal now. Thomas and Blaine with the assists, so that makes it 3-1. But the Kings would press to respond. Fiala has a shot that's held. Byfield to Kempe is blocked. Arvidsson has a one-timer that's held. Kopitar nearly gets one during a delayed penalty. I think they had that puck about 40 seconds during that delayed call. But with 6:07 left, there's a power play for the LA Kings. Now, initially, St. Louis clears, but the puck comes in, and that seems to be the problem St. Louis had tonight, was the puck coming back into their zone. Arvidsson gets the power play marker from Durzi at 14:30. And that one's tapped in on really poor defensive coverage by the St. Louis Blues. Kings press for another. They had the momentum back. They had lost some of that when that 3-1 goal went in. Kings go back to the power play, and they score on it. And I felt bad for Hofer. This was a tip in front by Moore, Deno, and Durzi with the assists at 16:22, and Binnington's in net. Kings, 17 shots at the 16:22 mark, and 5 of them have gone into the net. The last 2 being on the power play, 3 of the 5 being on the power play, 1 shorthanded. Again, I don't know that I would put any of this on Hofer. So Vrana has a rush that's defended. At the horn, the Blues were kind of unhappy and let the referee know it. The referee decided he'd had enough of Buchnevich, so he gives him a 10-minute misconduct. Now, I don't know that fired up the Blues after the first period, but pride has to kick in at some point, right? You've watched as your rookie goaltender was under siege for 16 and a half minutes before getting pulled out of the net to put Binnington in. It has to be frustrating. So early on, Roy fires one high on a Binnington turnover. Binnington gave the puck away. It was a little bit scary, but they survive. And then at 3:09, on a blast from the point, Falk scores from Pitlick to make it 5-2. That was on a failed clear by the Kings. Anderson then has a shot that's saved. The rebound's held. Kyrou, shot blocked as the Blues press. Arvidsson has a shot that's held as the Kings press. Arvidsson then fires one wide on a fast break. He's awarded a penalty shot. He misses that one wide. Kings press with 8 minutes left. The Blues then press back with 7 minutes left. Arvidsson tries to bank one in off Binnington. It doesn't go. The shots are only 5-4 at this point in favor of the Kings with 4.5 minutes left. Far less chances than the first, but The Blues would get 2 more shots before the period's out, and both of them go in the net. First, it's Buchnevich from Blaine and Rosen at 16:05, so he had 10 minutes in the box to think things over. Seemed to rest him up. He buries that one from the slot. He was in alone. Kings defense taking a really interesting tactic of, we'll just leave him alone. It'll put a lot of pressure on him. 2:49 left. The Blues get a power play, and they score. And Kyrou was all by himself here as well. So he scores from Thomas at 17:35. So that's 2 goals for St. Louis that go in because of really poor defensive coverage, and there was a break for, I think Thomas had a really good opportunity before that as well. You can see I was worried at this point about just filling up the board because this has gotten ridiculous. And so we go from a 5-1 score at the start of the period to 5-4. Kings press for a response. They don't get one. It's 5-4 after 2, and a very happy LA crowd after 1 doesn't sound so happy after 2. Third period, Saad nearly ties it. There's some pushing on a hold by Binnington. Kempe tips one wide on a rush, and then a snapshot, top shelf, nicely set up by Gavrikov at 4:37. Kempe gets that. He sets a career high in goals. I think he's at 36 now. The Blues press, though, and they score. Kapanen gets that one back from Buchnevich and Leddy at 8 minutes and 11 seconds. So suddenly, it's a 6-5 lead for LA. Now, at 8:50... after a power play is given to the Kings, and I believe it was an offensive zone penalty for St. Louis as well, Doughty makes him pay. He scores at 8:50. It's the 8th of the season for him, and it was fast. They lose the opening face-off on that power play, but Doughty gets the puck back and wires it. Kings look for another. Schenn has a shot that's held. That was the 3rd Blues shot of the period, 2-6 for LA. LA was done getting shots for the rest of the game. This was a weird game. For all this scoring, there were very few shots for large portions of the game, and yet the scoring would tell you there should have been a ton. So Kyrou's denied as the Blues press. 3:45 left. There's a power play for the Kings. Pretty aggressive penalty kill by the Blues, which is to be expected when they're down by 2. The Kings cycle. Danault fires one wide. That's killed off. No shots for that power play. And then they pull the goaltender, and after pulling the goalie, Kyrou scores from Schenn and Krug at 19 minutes and 11 seconds and makes it closer. They would pull the goaltender again. They would get a little bit of pressure. They hold on. The Kings hold on. They win this one 7-6. They go to 43, 20, and 10. You'll notice I'm using the other NHL logo, the old NHL logo, because I figured this is 80s night. Maybe I'll start using that for the really high scoring games. For St. Louis, 33, 34, and 6 with the loss. So they got to NHL 500. And they almost had the comeback, but they don't quite get there. So that's 12 goals scored by the Kings in the last 2 games. There are some positives to get from this. Not the penalty kill, and probably not the defensive side of it, but the shots on net, 17-11 LA in the first, 8-6 LA in the second, 6-5 LA in the third. The shots are only 31-22. So there's 53 shots, 13 of them go in the nets. And again, a lot of it is because these are from the slot. Guys were just left wide open. Both teams were guilty of it. I don't think either coach is going to be happy with this one at all. Power plays, St. Louis goes 2 for 2. LA goes 4 for 5. So, yeah, the power play surge in the NHL continues. Hits 21-13, St. Louis. Hofer, rough night. 12 saves on 17 shots. I feel bad for him. Binnington, 12 saves on 14 shots. And Copley saved 16 out of 22. He didn't have a great night either, but again, I can't put this on the goalies as bad as the save percentages are because you just have to play defense. At some point in time, you have to. Maybe LA got off to too big of a start, and it kind of just went to their feet, and they stopped playing the defensive side of it. But either way, it was a very entertaining game. It was absolutely bonkers. And so LA showing you they can score some goals, and St. Louis this weekend has shown they can score some goals too. They can also allow some goals, but they can score them. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And again, highly entertaining and enough goals for 3 different games with this one tonight. So, all right. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.